everybody. Welcome to the Kickin' Show, the official podcast of Kickin' the Tires. We have a special guest joining us tonight that's not here every week. Summer Bedgood, our managing editor, decided to grace us with her presence. Zach came off of the movie trail for Easter break. Matt Courson, fresh off of the Nashville tire test a week or so ago. And we got Justin out in California. So, and I'm Jerry. So, welcome to the show. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Lots of stuff happening this week. Summer, you're going to kick it off and tell us kind of a feel-good story that happened earlier this week in the world of NASCAR.
Yeah, so something to make us all smile and feel good. Always isn't that sweet. Okay, so there's a boy, seventh grade boy that had a surprise come his way from a NASCAR driver this week. So, I'm sorry, 8th grader, not 7th grader. His teacher gave him an assignment asking him to write a letter to somebody that he considers a role model. I think everyone in the class did this, but this individual, his name's Will Armstrong, decided to write a letter about Corey LaJoie, Spire Motorsports Corey LaJoie. And they had him go up on stage and read his letter. Will read his letter about Corey. I think all of the students had to read their letter in front of everyone or something like that. But he starts to read a letter about what he thinks of Corey, why he likes him, why he should come to the school and do an appearance and answer questions. And little did he know that Corey was actually backstage. And so while Will was reading his letter, and as he got towards the end, Corey kind of slowly walked out and came up behind him, and Will was kind of taken by surprise. And it was just really sweet. They hugged, and Corey, kind of talked about the letter and, what that meant to him. Apparently, he stayed so long on the stage with Will that his classmates actually missed the next period because he was so busy answering questions and they were so fascinated to have him there and they were so excited. So if you haven't seen the video, I recommend going and looking it up. There's a video from Brett Baldick at Brett Fox 46. There's a video there, and then at I think it's brproud.com, there's also a video of it, and I would go watch it. It's just something real sweet and something that'll put a smile on your face. I love hearing about drivers doing stuff like this and surprising their fans, especially when it's children. And it was really kind of fun to watch kids just, be so curious about NASCAR and be and wanting to know what he does and what it's like and all that. So, Zach, I was wondering if you'd had a chance to see it and what you thought of it.
Actually, I'm hot off reading because Corey posted what Will wrote him, that whole letter. It was such a sweet letter. I was just reading it now. First off, he's a pretty damn good writer. Maybe he can be on Kicking the Tires one day.
Hey,
boom! Writing that, he was. I really like why he liked Corey. I was trying to remember when I was around that age, why I liked the drivers that I liked, and I felt like his reasons were just really profound. I mean, we know Corey treats his fans tremendously well. He treats his people really well. He's just one of those really kind-hearted guys, I feel. He's a hell of an interview, a hell of a guy away from the camera. But even, at that age, for Will, he said that how Corey treats his fans, that makes the fan base feel like a family. And he feels like he's a part of that family. And he mentioned Corey's charity with Samaritan's Feet and what he's done with them for the past couple of years, his faith, and how hard Corey has worked to get to where he is in the Cup Series. It was just really, it wasn't like surface area reasons, we hear Kyle Busch fans as kids, I like the M&M's car. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can love a driver no matter what, but just to get really deep into Corey's personality and what he does on and off the track and just the type of person that he is, I felt like that not only made the letter nice, but when Corey came out, that had to be such a great moment for Will, and it was a hell of a video, and not surprised that Corey would do something like that. I think if if this kid wasn't a fan for life, he will be for now, and he'll definitely be a Coil Joy fan forever. That's for sure.
Well, one thing I noticed when I saw it all happening yesterday, I tweeted it out. I went and read some of the comments and some of the things that Corey had said. First off, Corey's a class act. I mean, he's a NASCAR driver, superstar, celebrity. Does pretty well for himself. But to go do that is a classy act, and kudos to him. We need more NASCAR drivers to do some stuff and reach out in that grassroots type of. I mean, what did it cost him? A couple hours. That was awesome. But Corey teared up. He didn't break down, but from what I was reading, he was, it was like it was tough when the letter was being read on stage and he was back there and I mean, I can just imagine, what that would be like, and except for the part about being a famous race car driver, but I mean,
well, Corey actually didn't even read the letter until like right before Will started reading it on stage, so. It wasn't like he'd read it ahead of time and thought, oh, I'm going to go meet this kid because I liked the letter. Like, no, he didn't actually see it until he got there. And I thought that was really cool. And then I heard Will say afterwards that he wants to be a race car driver himself. So, I guess if that doesn't work out, we can get him on board here. But
maybe we can hire him at Kicking the Tires. I mean, I'm always looking for good talent. The pay is amazing.
Yeah. Jerry, you retweeted that, and that's kind of what set it off. What's going on with you? Because, you wrote a pretty wholesome story last week with the one kid that got Blaney's flag, and now you got this wholesome story that you retweeted on Twitter.
Jerry's going soft on us.
Don't ruin my image, man. Don't ruin my image. Come on. But that you're right about the story with the young man who got the flag at Atlanta. That story, we talked about that on the show last week at Bristol. That story went crazy. I was completely shocked by that. And but yeah, another feel-good story that we're trying to change the vibe of Kicking the Tires, or at least soften me up, I guess is what you guys keep saying.
Well, and another thing about Corey, it's not exactly like he was coming off of a good weekend. He was in a crash in the race the day before. Finished in the low 30s. So, the fact that he wasn't just like, oh, screw this. I just don't feel like it. I just want to be angry about the race. I thought that was also really nice too. And he talked about that, how, this actually sort of brightens his week, and how he's glad that he did it, even though maybe he wouldn't have initially felt like it given a tough weekend. So I agree. I love when we see drivers do stuff like this, and I'd love to see more. And I think it's great that he decided to meet this guy. And yeah, definitely a fan for life now.
It's probably good advice for other drivers to do. If you have a bad week, go and make a kid's life. Or make your week a little bit better. Yeah.
Good idea, Matt. What you were at the Nashville test, and then we had a Martinsville rain tire test earlier this week. What is going on with NASCAR and some of the craziness I'm hearing with tires and running in the rain and things like that?
So they tested at Nashville last week. Of course, Nashville is one of the new tracks that they're adding to the schedule this year for the Cup Series. Last week, they were just wanting to really find out how the cars ran. I asked Steve Letarte, what are the drivers here to accomplish, right? And he said, you're not here to make the fastest lap time, go the fastest speed. You're here to find the bumps in the racetrack, what kind of shocks and stuff like that these teams are going to bring to the track in Nashville Father's Day weekend. So that was cool. And then today, Martinsville had Kyle Larson and Chris Buescher out there. And I never thought I would see NASCAR deliberately putting water on a racetrack so they could have cars go around. But they took the short drive up from Bristol to Martinsville with the water truck and put some water down. And from the comments that Kyle Larson I saw came out today, and some quotes from John Probst. Okay. Some comments that John Probst came out with today seemed like really positive information. He said, today could have been a complete disaster and we could have stopped all this today, but we got some really good data from the test today and we'll be able to move forward. So I think we can all say that we've been to some races that have probably been impacted by rain in some way or another. So hopefully, moving forward, when NASCAR goes to these short tracks, they can shorten the drying time and maybe get some races in at these racetracks that don't even have lights, like New Hampshire. So,
For people may think that this is not real because we are doing this on April Fool's Day, being April 1st, we're doing the show. But this is a legit deal. This is a legit tire test that NASCAR did. However, the tweet that was supposedly done by Bob Pockrass this morning that they were going to fill Daytona with dirt was an April Fool's joke that Bob Pockrass had nothing to do with. And shortly after it happened, Bob, who has, I don't know, he's got a dry sense of humor. First off, the tweet disappeared. Second off, he disavowed any knowledge of it and said it was ridiculous. So just in case you're wondering, Bob Pockrass did not tweet that they are going to fill Daytona with dirt and run dirt races there next year. But apparently, we are going to be trying to figure out how to run rain tire races at short tracks.
Well, and I think something important to add to this discussion is that they're not necessarily testing tires to race in the rain. Like if there's a downpour or if it's raining steadily, they're not actually planning on racing while it's raining.
So not like Charlotte Xfinity last year when we did that. Damn, that was so much fun.
Right. This is more so for damp racing conditions so that they can get back to racing once the rain stops. And maybe not have to spend as much time drying the racetrack. I believe it's also only for short tracks. So even if this pans out, it's probably only going to be used at tracks like you mentioned, like New Hampshire, like Martinsville. But those tracks, like many others, but those tracks do often seem to be impacted by weather, regardless of what time of year we go there. So I think that's a good thing because any time that they can take to shave off a rain delay and get the race in on a certain day, I think we can all agree is a positive. Mm-hmm. I am kind of looking forward and thinking, okay, so let's say NASCAR says this is going to work. We're going to do this. We're going to move forward with the rain tires. And we're going to put cars on the track even when the surface is damp. I am wondering, I just can't help but wonder if the fans are going to sort of take that a mile too far and say, oh, wow, that was a great race. They should just wet the track on purpose from now on.
Yes, they will.
They will absolutely do that.
Yes, I'm going to tell you right now. First off, if we're going to do that and we're going to have rain tires for damp tracks, then Goodyear just needs to go ahead and build a warehouse across the street from Bristol and leave the tires there because A, it always rains there, and B, it's kind of centrally located. But I want to talk about real quick before we go into the next deal, how disappointed I am with the NASCAR fan base right now. And that is, you guys wanted NASCAR to do something different, to shake up the schedule, to try new things. You wanted to go racing on dirt. NASCAR gave you everything you want, and you complained out your behinds this past weekend, okay? And we can't go to Eldora to race because there's not enough stands. It would have been great, and I know Tony Stewart would have loved it. We probably could have done something to expand it, but there's also not there's no infrastructure for around there for hotels and things of the like, okay? But other racetracks are even less prepared for a dirt race than what Eldora would have been if we would have been able to go there with the Cup cars. Go to Eldora with the trucks, that's fine. We should be at Eldora with the trucks. But what we did at Bristol this past weekend was amazing. The race was really cool, I thought. It's something different, and NASCAR deserves kudos. I'm not one to give them credit for a lot of stuff sometimes, but they deserve kudos for trying something different, and the fans just need to kind of, sit back and watch on this one and kind of sit and not be so damn negative about everything that happens in the sport. Because I tell you what, if you were better at running racetracks and running NASCAR than NASCAR people are, you wouldn't be on Twitter complaining about it. You'd be in Daytona or Charlotte doing it. So obviously they know something.
Or you would be stuck with a schedule that has 20 of its 36 races being at mile-and-a-half tracks where, that was a lot of fun, right?
Look, we're trying to do, NASCAR's trying to do something different. The fans asked for mile-and-a-half races. Okay, they asked for all those tracks. NASCAR built all those tracks, or SMI built all those tracks, and we went and raced them. Now times have changed. Now we're doing road courses and this new dirt race thing. There has to be a happy medium. Give it a freaking chance. That's all I'm asking. You guys can all weigh in on that. You can tell me I'm wrong. But, this is one time where I'm actually going to defend NASCAR.
No, you're right. And I think, like you said, I think the biggest thing is time, right? So, that's going to be the biggest test is time where, like you said, the big craze 10, 15 years ago was all the mile-and-a-half tracks, but they didn't really withstand the test of time as the cars evolved and more safer barriers were put out and all that stuff, right? So, now that we've done this dirt track, we're going to 6, 7, 8 different road courses between all the 3 series and all this stuff. Now we're starting to see, heck, even one of our big 2-mile tracks out here in California going to go down to a mile and a half. That's almost a pure combination of Bristol, Richmond, and Martinsville all in one, right? So it's all stuff that's going to stand the test of time. But the tracks that have stuck around for that long are the ones that have already withstood that test of time. Look at Daytona, Indianapolis. You've got Bristol and Martinsville. So there's definitely still good tracks out there, and I think NASCAR is making good moves here to see what next is going to be coming up that will stand the next series of time. So
we already know that 2022 and beyond is the deal for the Bristol dirt race. So this isn't the end of the dirt. It'll be here for a while in the spring Bristol race. So.
Well, and I think that's something else important to keep in mind. Whatever struggles NASCAR endured and Bristol endured over this past weekend can be rectified in the future. This was the first time they'd done anything like this in decades, the first time this, group of leadership and drivers had done anything like this. And I actually think it went off very well, considering that it was the first time they'd been on dirt in quite a while, and that this was kind of a unique thing. I'm not saying they didn't have problems. Obviously they did, but a lot of it was attributed to weather. So if you're going to criticize NASCAR for, anything that went wrong over the weekend, I don't necessarily think that's fair, because it was the first time they did it. You can't plan for everything. You can't, it's not going to be a perfect weekend the first time around. So I think actually what we should want is for them to do it again. And like they're going to come back next year. And I think that any struggles that we had this time around will probably be fixed, or at least a lot better next time. And then, if we go again for a third year in a row, any issues that we have will continue to improve. So to act like this was a disaster, which I don't think it was anything close to a disaster, it could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse too. I think if you're going to be critical, I think you need to keep in mind that this was the first time. They know what they need to improve on and what they need to look out for next time. They know where the problem areas are. They'll probably continue to speak to experts that run dirt tracks around the country, and drivers and industry experts who are able to help with that sort of thing. So I don't know that the criticism is necessarily fair. I think that these problems will be fixed in the next time around, and as time goes on, and as this continues to be a regular occurrence, whether it's once a year or however often NASCAR decides to do something like this, I think expecting it to be perfect the first time around is unrealistic, and we need to give them a chance to fix it and give it a few times before we say if it's actually a failure and if it should go away. So yeah, I totally agree that the negativity is unwarranted. Again, I think they did a great job with what they had to work with. Hopefully next time the weather's not as bad. And I really look forward to seeing what NASCAR and Bristol can do next year and what the drivers will do with it. And hopefully NASCAR fans will give them a chance to fix things that didn't work this time.
Yeah, there's definitely, I'm not a social media guy, so I really didn't even know that the negativity was out there. I just got finished watching the race just now. It's been a busy week, and I really enjoyed it. As Summer said, it wasn't even the easiest weekend for them. They had the late model stuff the last couple of weeks, but when it comes to this weekend with these cars and these drivers and these conditions, it was changing every day, almost every hour. And for them to get those heat races rained out on Saturday, I mean, that was a huge curveball. I mean, that set them up for a completely dry, or I guess wet, that turned into dry Sunday, which got rained out again. Now we got 2 races on the same day. Trucks they were going to be after the Cup race. Now they're before for Monday, and I mean they had a lot thrown at them. Tire wear, which is a curveball. They had to put 50 lap runs pretty much for the Cup race, and so they had that, and then all the driver feedback and just everyone with the track, and oh my gosh, I mean it was just so much. And I mean that's just, yeah, you're gonna get that from fans, of course. I really stopped listening because usually they're most miserable when you give them what they want. You know, you give them an inch and then they want to take a yard, then they want to take a mile, you know, because they're listening to us, now let's do this. And for the first time out, I thought the weekend went really well, and there's definitely ways to improve. A lot of ways I don't know what they're going to do, like the vision. You know, they did the single file restarts, which I'm sure helped, but I mean, there were guys who were, I mean, we saw like those old school Bristol wrecks where guys were spinning and then just guys piling in. I mean, Eric Almirola got hit by half the field in that one wreck just because no one can see. And there's certain things that's going to be difficult, but when it comes to opinions, I think you have to listen to guys like the teams and maybe even the spotters when it comes to the vision and track workers, and then obviously the drivers, because those are the opinions that matter when it comes to making a weekend like this better. Because it's not really just about 0 out of 10. I mean, what's this first weekend like? It's about looking into the future, and as you said, they're already doing 2022. How can we make that better? So we'll see what they can do.
Well, I'll tell you this. The only tragedy was that I didn't get to stay because I had to be back for a marketing meeting and to close with a client on Tuesday. So, but I spent 4 days in Bristol in the rain, and it was torrential rain. It was flooding. Nashville flooded down the road. You know, it was bad. Matt, you lived there. What they did to the track between Sunday and Monday was amazing, because I honestly thought we might be racing Tuesday because they weren't going to be able to get the track ready. It was so bad. And someone who works in the dirt world called me and said they're going to have to scrape down to where they can get, because it's red clay, so it's not wet all the way down to at least to the base, but they were going to have to scrape down and start turning that dirt and working that dirt to get it to dry out so that they could have a race. And that's exactly what they did. They worked all through the night. Steve Swift and his crew busted their butts so the fans could have a hell of a race on Monday. And then the last time I checked, NASCAR was not God. They cannot control the weather, okay? And if they could, every race would have 72-degree temperatures, clear skies and sun. So, but that's not the way the real world works. So, Matt, real quick, you were in the area, you lived there. How bad was the rain?
I think they said, I think it was like 13 inches of rain over about a 2-day span.
Oh,
so,
jeez.
a lot of people around here, of course, in the Nashville area, they have some. Not so long ago, 2010, the city got like 18 inches of rain in 2 days. So while this wasn't as significant, there's still lots of places here underwater. So I think the entire Bristol area, Tennessee in general, just lots of rain over the weekend. And to all the fans that are saying, oh, we should run the race in April. Well, today's April 1st, and this isn't a joke, but it was actually snowing in Bristol today. So, You can't have it the way you want it. So, like you said, NASCAR can't control the weather. So, you just gotta roll with it and do what you can.
And speaking of Bristol and dirt, we kind of need to recap the race and see what happened. I mean, I know Joey Logano won, but I was in the air about 36,000 feet flying from Charlotte back to Texas. So, you guys take it away, because I have very little. Other than listening to it on MRN through the Wi-Fi on the plane, which really sucked. Thanks a lot, United. That's all I know.
Burning those bridges. Well, I think we have to maybe start out by giving a shout out to Daniel Suarez, getting Trackhouse Racing their first top 5, leading 58 laps. Show of hands, who saw that coming? Who had Daniel Suarez in the top 5 at the Bristol Dirt Track?
I'm sure Jerry
Anybody?
did because he always bets on the underdog at Vegas.
Actually, by the way, it's Go in flight, not United. I need to clear that up. But Jerry did bet on Joey Logano to win. He was a 33-1 long shot, and Daniel Suarez was a 100-1 long shot, and I had money on him too. I was really pulling for Daniel Suarez. Just saying.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, so one of us actually did kind of bet on Daniel Suarez, but I still think even though you did, you probably still didn't expect the kind of performance we saw from him. He led 58 laps, finished 4th. Definitely, he does not have a dirt background, correct? Racing in Mexico. Yeah, so I was very impressed by that. In fact, pretty much none of the guys, except for a couple who finished in the top 10 really have much of a dirt background, so that was kind of surprising. I think that we expected maybe, and I know they wrecked, but Larson and Bell to have a little bit more of a role. Probably would have, but so I found that surprising. I also think that we need to give some mention to Martin Truex Jr. for almost sweeping both races in the same day. I believe he led more laps than anybody else in the Cup race, finished 20th-ish, something like that.
Yep.
But that was just, if I remember correctly, there was a late race restart where he, I think, had a flat tire or something like that, and just kind of dropped back through the field. Okay. But came very close to sweeping both the Truck Series race and the Cup Series race in the same day, which would have been really cool considering that he hadn't even been in a Truck Series race in forever. And then somebody else that I want to give a shout out to is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for finishing 2nd. I think that as the race went on, I think we expected Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano to be battling to the very ends, and maybe for that to not go well. But anyway, and instead Stenhouse was able to get by for 2nd. I believe that was his first top 5 finish of the season. So a little less surprising. I know Ricky Stenhouse does have some experience on dirt. Well, not just some. It's pretty good on dirt. But I still, I think you still got to give kudos for that finish. Because, again, I don't think that I would have placed him that far up. So, yeah, lots of surprising outcomes in that race. As good as Joey Logano is, I definitely didn't have him winning either. So I was pleasantly surprised by a lot of performances among several drivers. Sorry, guys, I think I just stole every storyline. So please feel free to just kick me off next time I do that.
Well, Zach just actually watched the race he recapped it. So what were your thoughts? Because I know that you were busy doing other stuff, in your professional acting career when the race was actually happening. So fill us in on what you think of now that you've watched the race.
I've been dying to watch it for all this time. I knew the results, back on Monday, but I really wanted to, because you can watch the extended highlight videos, but it's not until you watch the entire 2.5-hour, 3-hour race and to really get a feel of how the race went. I thought it was a really fun time. I really liked how the track changed. I liked how the drivers had to adapt to the changing conditions in a way that they haven't had to do that before. The entire set of challenges that they had to go through. I just really like seeing the variation of not only just the different driving styles, but as someone said, the names up front. I expected a lot of the dirt guys to be up front, and they were running well there for a little bit. Bell and Lawson for sure, and Reddick got a top 10, and Briscoe was in a wreck. Most of those guys wrecked, really. And then at the end, it was a lot of guys who I really didn't, foresee doing too well, and Suarez was one of them for sure. He was up there leading, and I'm like, oh my gosh. At first, I was watching a highlight video on YouTube on Monday night, and it said crazy dirt racing and a new winner. And when I was watching Suarez leading, because I didn't know who won the race yet, I'm like, oh crap, is Suarez going to win this thing? But he ended up losing the lead. And, I'm glad he got the result that he deserves. He pretty much had a top 5 run at Atlanta last week, and he ended up having a bad pit stop. Had to do a drive-through and left that one away. Overall, Trackhouse has done really well this year. And Stenhouse, he finishes 2nd almost every year here in Bristol, even if it's on the high banks, on the asphalt, or if it's on the dirt here. And Ryan Newman, top 5, that was crazy. He was running really well early. Then he had that wild spin Byron tagged them coming off a 2, and he did a 360 and nearly got tagged by like 12 guys. I mean, it was so close. And he thankfully came out with no damage and had a great last restart and first top 5 in I think a year and a half since 2019. Byron got 6th. I mean, he won the I race, so I'm like, all right, we'll see how that goes. But he gets his 5th straight top 10 on the year. So he's been quiet this year, but I mean, that's the type of consistency I've been wanting to see from him on a wide variety of different tracks. And also Eric Jones, you know, he closed out the top 10, his second now with Richard Petty Motorsports. Not quite a top 10 team. They've kind of been stuck in that 15th to 20th place range, even with Bubba Wallace and before that Eric Almirola. So I mean, if he can elevate that team to that next level, top 10, that would be a huge win for them. But yeah, right now, I mean, I think he's doing really well. And so overall, a lot of fun names up there. We could have gotten some more. Some guys got shuffled back, but I think it was a wide range of faces and a lot of cool stories coming out.
Well, I promise you, if I ever hit 100 to 1, it's bonuses for everybody. So you guys need to pull for the long shots. Matt, what did you think of the action?
Yeah, I'm kind of like Zach. I think just something different, you know, watching how the drivers were able to adapt to the different track. And honestly, I think one of the funnest things all week was all of the unknowns nobody knew what was going to happen. And they made it through on lap 1. Jerry, you were there for the Friday practices. So I think the weekend was a lot smoother. Aside from the rain, the weekend was a lot smoother than a lot of people anticipated. So like Summer said, we'll see how Bristol and the drivers adapt moving forward, fixing some of the challenges that they had this weekend, and see how it goes in the future.
Hey, Summer, you were going to say something before I go up to Justin. What were your final thoughts there?
Well, just pointing out, we're still continuing this trend of a different winner each week, 7 different winners and 7 races. So continue to see really good parity in the Cup Series. And I think that's sorely needed at times, especially amongst, you know, the core fan base who kind of gets tired of seeing the same guys in victory lane over and over. We've seen underdogs, we've seen familiar faces, and, you know, Truex and Logano. I've heard a few people say that this is going to be the year where you get 16 total winners for the playoffs. I don't know that I'm going to subscribe to that just yet. It's still a little early for me, but it's definitely a strong start. And I just think it's really cool to see this level of parity in the Cup Series. Because at this point in the season, you start to see someone, you know, pick up and start to dominate, or, you know, maybe a few more races in, and we're just not seeing that right now. We're not seeing a crystal clear front runner, and I think that's awesome. So I hope that stays that way.
Yeah, and we're not just seeing. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I was just going to throw it to you, Justin, and, you know, talking about, you know, the 2 people that everyone expected to win took each other out. So, you know, I thought that was, and Larson was like, come on, Bell, you know. It's
it's like of all people to spin out completely on his own, you would have never picked Bell. And it happened right in front of Larson, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. literally didn't show up until the last 15 laps. So you have our dirt trio just bad out of luck, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, just to kind of go off of Summer, you know, we have 7 different winners, but we've had lots of different, like, big time leaders too. I mean, look at Chris Buescher a few weekends ago at Homestead, where he led like 70 something laps, and he just came out of nowhere and just pew, bye guys, see ya, I'll lead the field. Okay, that's great. Where did you come from? And then yeah, we had Suarez lead for 50 something, almost 60 laps at Bristol on dirt, when his only experience of dirt racing was Bristol, right? So brand new team, underdog teams, and then just keep going down that list. Look, Michael McDowell winning the Daytona 500 finishes 12th on dirt. Keep going down. I know Harvick had a blast, even though he probably was annoyed as heck by all the dirt, but keep going down. Look at Stuart Friesen in an Aspire Motorsports car finishing 23rd. Quinn Houff with Starcom finishing 25th. You got guys who usually finish below 30th or 35th almost cracking a top 20 finish. That's amazing for some of these smaller teams. So it definitely proved with this Cup race that that's where we need to go, because it definitely puts a little bit of a shuffle into things and makes the talented drivers really stand out. Same thing with the truck race. Look at Rafael Lessard. Almost no dirt experience. Boom, third place. Like, where did that come from? So it was a fun weekend. I'm actually wearing so I have on my old Santa Maria Raceway jacket, or heavy duty polo, I should say, from when I worked at a dirt track for a year when me and Rachel were engaged, and I was up visiting her every weekend in the Central Coast area. So they found out. Yeah, here you go. Yeah. So basically, I was up there every weekend, and so they had me as a flagman and all that stuff. So nice little outfit and everything. It's all nice and clean for once, because I had to clean it for the show. But
no, racing outfits are not supposed to be clean. I am firm on this. They're supposed to be dirty.
Well, a Tide Ride would beg to differ, because Eric Jones gave me this. So no, just kidding.
Okay.
So here's the thing I didn't like about the Bristol dirt race. It was dirty.
Oh,
and
come on.
I know this is going to surprise y'all, but I don't like dirt. I just, there was dirt. I felt like there was dirt in the press box.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Probably was.
I swear I wiped my screen like 6 times, and I could feel like microparticles of grit falling through the air. So
as soon as it gets in my hands, I'm out of there.
I was telling.
Yeah, Zach, you're a clean freak.
I was joking with some of the iRacing folks. I'm like, oh, just wait for people to just drive down right by that interstate, look down to the south, and just be like, oh, there's a giant old dust tornado right here. Oh, they're racing at Bristol on dirt. But yeah,
I think it's sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say, yeah, it gets dirty very fast. You will literally. I remember when I was working at Santa Maria, I would have dirt under my fingernails, and it would take me about 2 or 3 showers just to finally get all the dirt out from underneath. It's crazy, but it's so much fun. And for those who are watching, if you've been to like a local track and stuff like that where it's just asphalt, go to a dirt race. It's such a fun experience, super unique. Everyone's all super filthy, but it's so much fun.
If you go to a sporting event and you don't leave dirtier than when you showed up, you didn't do it right.
Yes.
That's how I see it.
Yes.
Even if it's like hot dog mustard or something, I just have something to show that you had a sport of your own.
Covered in beer or something. I mean, if you don't come back just filthy, you didn't have a good enough time.
There you go.
And I honestly love. Okay, so the Cup Series grew exponentially back in the 90s and early 2000s and around that time. And so, you look now and all of their race shops are pristine. Their haulers are perfectly polished and shiny. You have all the owners when they're allowed to be there and the executives, and they're dressed nice and dress shirts. I thought it was awesome that the pristine and polished Cup Series garage was forced to get dirty for once. I loved that. I loved that our sport wasn't so perfect this weekend, and that it was actually felt like a hometown kind of race feel. It wasn't there, so I don't know if that really transferred well over. And listening to these guys complain about it, I'm starting to wonder. I mean, maybe we should have had some more dirt people there to show them how it's done. But yeah, I loved seeing our multi-million-dollar race teams just get filthy when they care so much about appearances and spend so much time making sure that everything is perfect. There was none of that this weekend. It was they left with dirt in places that they didn't even know they had, and I think that's awesome.
You really thought about this. So.
I did. I just sometimes think NASCAR is just, the Cup Series is just too big for its britches sometimes and tries to be something it's not. And I really kind of wish that we would embrace the sort of, filth when it comes to racing, if that makes sense. And so
I never thought it would come out of Sweet Summer's mouth. Filth. Oh, Lord.
Yes, we need to be less less perfect. We need to be dirty, and we need to be we need to have flaws, and we need to have dings and dents and tears and scrapes, and then that's how racing should be. So I was in my opinion anyway. So yeah, I loved watching these shiny, perfect fire suits and cars and haulers and, $1 million businessmen and the team owners get just totally dirty and not be able to worry about everything being perfect. I loved it.
The Team Penske shop. That place is a.
You couldn't eat off the bathroom floor. Yeah.
We're about to lose Matt. I think Matt's computer's about to crash. I don't know why he doesn't plug in, but his computer's about to die up there. But before we go to breaking news that I have, and then I could take Summer regaling us with dirt stories for hours. But today is April 1st, as we said. Happy birthday, Chris Knight. So
yes.
Yeah.
If y'all want to sing to him, you can, but I don't sing well. So
sure you do. You posted all over Twitter that you're getting ready for the national anthem.
Yeah. That was an April Fool's joke.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, we're all gonna do it, and we're gonna harmonize, and we're gonna sing in parts, and somebody's gonna have a guitar and a trumpet. We're gonna do the full spread. It's gonna be great.
Matt,
Okay.
Can you sing?
No, absolutely not.
Can you play an instrument?
I played percussion in high school, but I haven't touched it since. So
There you go. That's all you need.
in a little while.
I can play the radio. That's my talent.
Like cowbell.
I mean, we can all technically play the keyboard.
Sure.
We're talking about a computer
Yeah,
keyboard,
just wait for the
not
little
a piano
lights.
keyboard.
Just wait
Yeah.
for the keys to light up, and then you push that button.
That's right.
Well, in other news, NASCAR did make a reinstatement of two drivers this week. Josh Rayome and Mike Wallace were both reinstated after posting insensitive comments or retweeting insensitive comments or insensitive artwork, whatever you want to, whichever one of the two you want to take it from. But they both completed NASCAR sensitivity training. They are both eligible to race again. So they did their crime and they did the time. So now we let them go forward and move on, and we'll put that in the rearview mirror. So this weekend is Easter. And it's everybody. You guys have a happy Easter. Spend time with your family. I'm actually going out of town for the weekend with my wife for the first time. She's actually going somewhere for the first time since COVID has really happened, for kind of like a mini vacation. So we're going to go do that and go to San Antonio and hang out at the Alamo. And I'll have somebody here staying at the house to watch our kitties and take care of all the animals. And you guys, if you're not here for the show, Matt, I know you brought your cat on earlier. Mine was in here. He doesn't like the camera. Summer, we've been blessed to have your animals on the show. So maybe we'll do a kicking pets show at some point in the future.
She's been wandering around here making noise. I wasn't sure if it was coming across or not, but she says hi. So there you go.
Hey, Justin, how's things out in California?
Boring.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
No, it's good though. We've got some of our local clubs racing. We got one race next week and the week after, so or this weekend I should say. So they're at least letting us do some of that. That'll be nice. Rachel's been she got a new photography job. I think I mentioned that a couple episodes ago. So she's really been enjoying that and hoping that she can get some opportunities to do some stuff over at Irwindale. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. But yeah, we're just kind of waiting for June, since Sonoma was canceled last year. It's kind of still up in the air. They haven't really made an official announcement yet, so I'm kind of hopeful, but not holding my breath either. But yeah, hopefully we can be up in Sonoma for the road course out here. That'll be a lot of fun.
Breaking news. Ryder Wells Racing has announced that they're replacing Ryder Wells in the driver's seat with Riley Yates, young female driver, because Ryder apparently, according to the team owner, is spending too much time on the soccer field and not devoting enough time to practice in the race car. So that just came across the feed here. No, it's April Fool's. I just thought I'd throw that in there. It's just a message lighter when watching the show. But anyway, you guys take care. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter.